Hey everyone, welcome to the Cyclone Fanatic post-game show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson. Chris will be joining us in a few. Tough game. Texas Tech beats Iowa State 23-22. We have lots to talk about. But before we get started, let's thank all of our sponsors. We'll start with Carl Auto Group. They've been a sponsor of Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network for nearly 10 years. If you need any vehicle needs, visit carlautogroup.com today. Then we have Keen Project Solutions, Cyclone fans in the ag industry. This is for you. They have been pioneering the future of industrial agriculture. And then we have Central States Roofing. Thanks to our friends at Central States Roofing. They've been a locally owned business for nearly 56 years. Make sure you visit csroofing.com for more. Raymond James, if you're looking for trusted financial services, check out Raymond James. They have offices all over. You can visit raymondjames.com/Natuzel to learn more. And finally, Aer Lingus College Football Classic. Mark your calendars for August 23, 2025. Cyclones will face Kansas State in Dublin. You can book your travel package with Aer Lingus College Football Classic at cyclones2ireland.com. That's cyclones2.com. Well, if Chris wants to join us, we can chat about this tough game. It was bound to happen. Obviously, a lot of stuff didn't go Iowa State's way, but what are your initial thoughts right after that game?
Well, my initial thoughts, Leah, is not to make myself a part of it, but I couldn't have read this game worse. I couldn't have read it worse. Coming off of a bye against a team that's built like Texas Tech. I always respected Texas Tech. Again, as I mentioned at halftime, they were one of my surprise teams to play for a Big 12 championship this year. I didn't see any scenario in which this game could be played in the 20s like this, where, Iowa State just looks so out of sync on offense all day. Your quarterback he's fine. A lot of drops. It's like what's disappointed to me, like off the start, is that you are like you went down with your strength, right? Like Iowa State's offense is supposed to be top 20 in the country. I don't know, wherever you want to put it. And it was the defense that, with all these injuries, it was the defense that keeps you in this one and gives you a chance to win it. And you can't just take it with your offense against what's statistically a bad Texas Tech defense. Not average, bad. That's what's disappointing about this loss to me. You lost a game. Like, there are a lot of plays that we can go back and look at, right? There was that hands to the face penalty, which he did have his hands to the face, right? Like, they're all this, just like bad execution plays that Iowa State drops, all that stuff. You lost the game after the Sama run where they reviewed it and they said he was out on like the half-yard line, and you can't put it in the end zone. You have a false start right on that play. You go back to that's 1st and 5 on the 6, first and goal on the 6, and just really the red zone offense was just atrocious today. And it's just disappointing because, Lee, I'll put it in your world, right? If you're a hitting team and you lose games 1-0, it probably stings more than if you're a defensive team with an elite pitcher, right? Like, does that make sense? And if Iowa State loses this game 45-44, because, I'm not happy, but I'm like, okay, well, defense is, we've seen this trending for a while. You're struggling to stop the run. I just felt like this offense left so much out there, and it's kind of been trending this way a little bit, right? Like the Central Florida game, it's so crazy at the end because you're just so happy, and like, but it's still like I said in that post game that they had almost 600 yards, but I didn't feel like the offense was ever in sync in that game. Because you had, but right, like, and this was the worst offensive performance of the season. And, in money time, it's funny. I've thought even the Central Florida game when they got the ball back all year, I thought the offense would go down and do it. Even the Iowa game, I didn't feel like that today.
No. Yeah.
I didn't feel like that today. And it certainly wasn't because of Texas Tech's defense. So whatever that means, you're still in a spot like there's still everything to play for. And, you hope that you bounce back from this. But coming off the bye, like, just a disappointing deal. You're still in it, like say, still everything to play for. But I'm just surprised, and I was dead wrong. I thought this would be a high scoring game that Iowa State. I loved this matchup for Iowa State, but I also don't feel like Iowa State did anything to take advantage of the matchup. I thought that they were stubborn on first down. They trusted their offensive line way too much, and somehow this Texas Tech defense put a lot of pressure on Iowa State's line in both the run and the passing game, and Iowa State didn't have an answer.
Do you think that there was one major reason on why Iowa State was losing, or was it everything that was just going wrong? Like, can we blame play calling? Can we blame penalties?
Yeah, I mean, I hated the play calling today. I thought it was really conservative for Mauser, right? Mauser he's not a conservative play caller. I thought it was today. I mean, with like literally the statistically the worst passing defense in the country going into this week. And I thought Iowa State, especially on first down, it was just how many inside runs on first down? Like 70% of them? I don't know. I'd have to go back and chart it. But yeah. And then there were just like little things too. It's just if Higgins had a big drop, Noel had a big drop, Rocco missed a few. But I don't know. I got to go back to watch it. I'm not just going to kill the quarterback because I felt like he was under a ton of pressure today. It was good to see Sama had a good second half, right?
Yeah.
I kind of crushed him at halftime, but he bounced back really nicely. But I thought they just not only did they wait too long, I never felt like they ever chose to open it up.
Yeah. It didn't feel like they were playing to be 8-0. It just seemed like different season.
Great point, Leah. I felt like they were playing. I always talk in this show about getting a 2-score lead and how important that is. I felt like they were calling plays like they had a 2-score lead in the second quarter.
Right.
I completely botched this with my analysis of this game. And I'm guessing a lot of people did in this too.
So what does this mean for Iowa State now with playoffs? I know a lot of people are asking I know they're being dramatic saying season's over, but
oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
Right,
I mean, you're 7-1, like you could be upset, but it's not true. It's if you go 11-1, chances I don't know the actual like tiebreakers because it's weird. If you go 11-1, you're going to be in the Big 12 championship game. Now, this likely, as far as the playoff goes, it's going to be really damn hard to get in that large.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see any way a 2-loss Iowa State team could, unless you win the Big 12 championship with 2 losses, which feels unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like man, like we can be disappointed without being completely insane too. And like, all kind of thought like at the beginning of the year and even through the year. I mean, I've said I thought Iowa State would lose a game somewhere that we didn't expect. I didn't expect it to be this one. Like I thought that Iowa State passing attack against that Texas Tech secondary was a feast mode for this offense, and it wasn't. I'm sure there was something that they were trying to do. It felt like the whole first half they were just trying to set Texas Tech up. Set them up and set them up and set them up. But the problem is they never did anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I always try and put things into your world. It's like sometimes like a pitcher will set you up with a pitch and then she's trying to get you to expect to go outside and up and then she goes low and in or like, right? Like I felt like that's what they were doing with the running game. It didn't feel like they were ever trying to actually do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, okay, we're going to go 2 on the inside here. And now it's 3rd and 9. Like how many 3rd and longs were Iowa State in today? It was 5 of 17 on 3rd down. It's just really disappointing. Great point, John. I hadn't gotten to this. Like another point that Iowa State had 8 penalties for 59 yards today. Like that's by far the worst of the year. So it sucks. There's no putting lipstick on a pig. Like you got a lot of disappointed people going home today.
So what needs to happen in this next week? Because they obviously have a big game against Kansas, and some teams when you have a 7-0 start, almost 8-0, and you lose, you can get down easily. But
well, I mean, Kansas is, believe it or not, even like with one win and whatever there is, I don't even know what their record is. They're playing better. They almost won in Manhattan last week, so that's going to be a really, really good game. This will really hurt Iowa State's power rating.
Mm-hmm.
And what the power rating is how Las Vegas makes point spreads and all that stuff. This will be an old knee to the junk in the power rating. Like, because when you're supposed to be an elite offense and you go against a defense like this and, you weren't elite today. Like they weren't bad. You still they were. Never mind. I mean, I'm looking at the stats now for the first time. It's just like, it was just, and I give Tech credit, but I didn't feel like Tech played that well today. No. They were okay.
I was not impressed with how Tech was playing. Yeah. I think that's what makes it so frustrating too, is like, it's not like Texas Tech was playing some spectacular football game and deserved to win.
The whole second half was really just bad football across the board, I thought. And when Central Florida was in here, I kind of felt like after that game, you just took their best shot and still found a way to win. I just don't feel like that today. I mean, listen, I've done these post-game shows where it's just like you have nothing to play for. Like you've got everything out there, but you've got to pick yourself up off the deck. This thing could go one of two ways. Hopefully. I hope it's going to go I'll be negative first and then I'll be positive.
And then positive. Good. You're learning.
I know you're going to make me be positive at the end. So this could be a deal where the offense is just never going to reach its potential. And because again, guys, like the offense has been good this year. Like it's been a good offense, one of the better statistical offenses in program history. Obviously, they're 7-0 going into this game. But it could be a deal where you've hit a plateau and you don't know where to go. What is all right? Iowa State lacked an identity today on offense. Like I wanted this team's identity to be, okay, we're going to throw to set up the run. Today it was not that. They were trying to screw around with this Texas Tech defense and bait them into, we're going to be a rushing first team, and then like it never worked. My hope is that instead of the plateau, they come out against Kansas and say, screw it. We're gonna put 5 wide. We're gonna, do all these things that we've seen them doing at their best and just go with it.
Right.
Because this offensive line is good. It's not great, but it's not bad. It looked bad today. And I think that it was because of predictability. I think and there were bad penalties too. 54 in a terrible game. 54, that was maybe his worst game. I'm not picking on him. Hit a bad lineman downfield on a crucial moment. Like he had a lot of penalties today. He's going to grade out terribly, I promise. He's a senior, right? Like he should be better next week.
Right.
But you asked me on Wednesday when we did pregame, what happens if Iowa State loses? And I said you got to shoot yourself in the foot. And time again, Iowa State, I felt, did that today. Because I didn't feel like this Texas Tech team came in here and just took it.
And you're correct.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that at all. I felt like this is one that's like, Matt Campbell's going to stay up and lose a lot of sleep over this one tonight. Yeah. I know I will too.
I think there were also a couple play reviews that just didn't go our way. Like when you're watching them on TV, it should have been different than what was upheld on the field. So that was pretty frustrating too. I know you can't blame everything on that, but
yeah, it's hard because I'm not watching the television broadcast, but I thought the last review where they called the catch, I thought he was certainly like bobbling it.
Yeah, and that's what they said on TV as well. They thought he was like grazing it on his knee,
Yeah.
and they literally said there's no way that they'll call this a first down. And then
Yeah, and again, you guys a lot of times have a better angle on that than I do in the press box because I'm watching it, but I'm not listening to the broadcast. Man, it's just it's just disappointing. The good thing is you've got everything in front of you. I am worried that I don't know that they're not. And this sounds crazy, and I want everybody to know that I have perspective. Like 7-1's really good. Like they have everything to play for. I don't feel like this team is like getting progressively better by the week, though, and that's what worries me going in. I thought the West Virginia game was the top of the mountain so far. Now you were pretty fortunate to beat UCF. We can all agree there. And then this game, it's just against a mediocre at best team. You were super flat. So can you pick yourself off the deck? You know, if you're going up a mountain, okay, you went down a few rungs. Now, can you pick yourself back up to play the month of November, down the stretch at the best of your ability?
Right. You want to peak now, and from perspective, it's so hard to dig yourself out of a hole. And when I said at the beginning, when I said, this was bound to happen, it's like not in a negative way, but how many times can you like barely scratch by a win or two that they've done this season? And it was like it was
about the Iowa game,
right?
Like there's been a lot of moments like this, and then tonight, and that poor field goal attempt. I don't know what that, but again, that was the time where Iowa State got the ball, and it was the first time in the clutch this year where I'm like, I don't feel it. Like I didn't see it looking down at the side. Like it didn't feel like Iowa State was going to go down and take it. When Brown got in the end zone, man, that was a pretty special moment. But then you have a chance to you had the ball. You have them on 4th and 7 or what it was, and you couldn't get off the field. That's where Tech, I give them a ton of credit. That last drive to go down and do what they did, that takes a lot of moxie. So congratulations to them on that. It's just, but the whole game, I thought was pretty flat on the one side. The defense really, I thought, played really well for Iowa State. The bad first drive, but they locked in. A lot of really good plays by guys in the secondary. I thought the D line in the first half, especially, was really strong. The linebackers, I think they're doing about as good as they can with the guys that they have out there. It's not perfect. They'd be a lot better if Bacon was healthy, but you don't have them, and you got to pick yourself up, and they've done that all year. The defense didn't lose this game for Iowa State.
Right.
You have bad penalties, lack of execution on offense, and you had a missed field goal that could have won the game. I mean, it was a hard kick. It's raining. I mean, that thing wasn't even close. No. So, you point to all those things, and there's usually in these games, you can point at one play, but there's usually a bunch, and I certainly thought that it'll be a tough day watching film tomorrow with a lot of mistakes that, guys like Higgins and Knoll, they're so good and they've done so much for the program and they've got so much ahead of them in the NFL. Those are the ones like the season 2 years ago is the one that killed me when they go 4-8, because Xavier Hutchinson's one of the best players we've seen at Iowa State.
Right.
And he dropped like 3 plays that probably would have put Iowa State into a bowl game. And that's how I hate losing. Like if I don't want my home run hitter to lose it for me. And guys like Higgins and Knoll, man, today's game will really, they're going to pick themselves up. I don't know if they're going to win next week. I hope they do, but there's good leadership on this team. There's good seniors, all that stuff. And Campbell's great. He's picked up teams before. They still have everything to play for. It's not like you went out, you take care of, I mean, you, in theory, could even lose one more depending on what else happens in the Big 12, and you could play for a Big 12 championship. So that, I guess that's where I would leave you. But off of a bye, I'm shocked by this result and really, just surprised. So everything to play for, though, right?
That's what I'm saying. Let's hope this shapes them. They get back in practice. They're pumped up, and they don't ever want to lose again.
There you go.
Boom. Got
Are
to
you
end on
calling it?
positive. Yeah, I'm
So you're
calling
calling
it.
the 11-1 regular season then?
Duh. You know me.
Gotta
And
girl.
you should too. Everyone else should as well.
All right, I'm with you.
All right.
I'm gonna back you. It's pouring out there now, though, so we got this game over just in time.
Perfect. Well,
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks to all of our sponsors. You can check in next week for our pregame show.